Alright, so in this video, I'm gonna teach you detailing and drafting in Revit architecture, the basics of detailing and drafting. So the first thing that I'm gonna teach you is how to create a callout view of a section, and then followed by working with text and tags. And then after that, we're going to learn how to add construction details to a detail view, and then I'm going to show you how to create a drafting views and import a view and a CAD file. Okay, so again, all of this exercise, you can find it here on my website, learningwithrich.wordpress.com. So I will be using this one, create a callout view, working with text, add construction details, create drafting view, and import a view and a CAD file. Okay, but if you don't want to avail this one, so you can always use your own project, your own exercise files. You can actually do this in one project. Okay, but just in case, if you want to support me, you can go to this website and then you can avail these exercise files that I'm using right now. Okay, so now the first thing that we will be doing is we're going to create a callout view of a section. Okay, so now the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to open section 1. Okay, so as you can see, my section 1 here, there's a color view just beside it. So that means section 1 is already inserted in a sheet. Okay, so that's what that color blue stands for. So if it is white, no blue, so that means these views are not yet inserted in a sheet. But if you see a color blue there, so that means it's already inserted. So if I look at the sheets here and then I open this A101-unnamed, so you'll be able to see there the view that I'm talking about, section 1. So it's already inserted in a sheet. That's why it's already color blue here. Okay, so just in case if you are wondering. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a call out. So this will gonna be a quick exercise, very simple. So let's go to the view tab and then from the create panel, you can see here call out. So you have two ways of creating call out. So one is just creating a rectangle, which is what we are going to use. And then the other one is sketching. So you can shape up your call out. Okay, so for this one, I'll just select rectangle. So let me click this one, and then you just need to pick 2 points, just like creating rectangle. So I'm going to pick here. So here's my first point, and then here's my second point. Okay, click that, and then select here modify. So if you notice, I just created a new view here, which is the call out, which is this one here. So I can click this, and then you see there's a blue nodes there, blue dots, wherein you can adjust if you want to adjust your the view of your call out. So you can click that if you want to drag the head, and then you can bend that if you want. Okay, all right. Okay, so now if you notice, the reason why there's no value here on the call out head, it's because we haven't inserted this section 1 call out in a sheet. That's why there's no detail number or sheet number here. Okay, so that's the reason why. So it also applies in other views that you create. So whenever you see a head here, call out view or section head or elevation head that is empty, so that means that particular section, view, or call out is not yet inserted in a view or in a sheet. Okay, so now let's open up our call out. So it's either you double click the call out head or click the call out, right click, and then go to view. Or if you know the name of your call out, which is section 1 call out 1, so you can go to the project browser and then just double click it. Okay, so let me just double click that, and then here's now your call out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this call out in my sheet. Okay, so let me open this, And then I'm just going to drag this here inside. Okay, very simple, right? So that's how you create a call out. So just drag and drop, put it here, and then maybe I'm going to align it here. And then after I pick, you will now see that the call out detail will now be placed, the sheet number and then the detail number. So there's the sheet number. So that means this call out, you can find that on sheet A101, and then the detail number is 2. So here's the sheet A101, and then the detail number is 2. Okay, so that's it for this simple exercise. So that's how you create your call out if you want to blow up part of your building or model. So you can always edit your call out. You can click, you can go to the call out view, and then you can adjust from here. Okay, so this dotted line that you are seeing, that's for annotation. So any annotation elements that is outside that dotted line will be cropped out, so it will not be shown. So like, for example, if I type a text here, sample, okay, and then I select here modify. So if I click this, and then I'll adjust this one. So the solid line, it will control the visibility of your solid model. Okay, so as you can see, so once your annotation touches or it's outside the dotted line, your annotation crop, it will be removed. So if I adjust that dotted line, that annotation crop, so it will show. So once an annotation touches or it's outside, it will be removed from view. See? All right. So that's how your annotation crop works. You can actually disable that by selecting your call out boundary and then turning off your annotation crop here. So you can click that. Okay, and then as you can see, if you click the boundary of your call out, there's no more dotted line here. So it's turned off. So you can turn on, turn off that. Okay, so that's how you create your call out view of a section. All right, so now the next thing that we will be doing, so let me just go to our next exercise, which is working with text and tags. So in this exercise, we're going to place a text in a drafting view to illustrate a standard roofing detail. And then after that, we're going to place tags and text in a plan view to label doors, windows, rooms, and walls. Okay, and then we're also going to modify the wall tags. Now, let's add text to our detail view. Okay, so let's add the text. So the text tool is this one, or you can also type TG or TX. Okay, so TX, that's the shortcut. And another way, you can go to annotate, and then you can select the text there. So the text, this is a commonly used tools. That's why it's here by default on your quick access toolbar. Okay, so I'm going to select that. And then using 2.0 millimeters Arial, so I'm going to add a text here. So for this one, before I place my text, look at this portion here. So there's a leader panel wherein you can put a text without a leader. You can add a one segment text or two segments or curve. And you can also see here some justification, leader up top left, leader at middle left, bottom left, etc., etc. Just like our standard Word software. So now here, I'm going to use this one, two segments. Let's click that, and then let's pick here. I'm going to pick first point, second point, and then third point. There you go. And then after that, I'm going to type all caps, CAS, Ayon, Dome. And then just click outside. And then select modify. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm gonna do, I also want to add an arrow here, leader line, so I can edit the text. So I can select the text, And then after that, you see there's a leader panel again. So I can make my leader at the top right so that it's consistent with the left side. So I also want to put my leader at the top portion. And then there's a button here, add right side straight leader. So I can click that. And then I can drag that dot to adjust, and then I can adjust it like this. I can also use the move icon there to move my text, and you can also rotate your text if you want. So there's a text rotate icon there. Okay, there you go. So now I'm going to add another text. So let me just adjust this one. Maybe I put it here. Okay, and then let me add another text. So let me click the text here. 2 segments. So I'm going to point it somewhere there and then click here, align it there. Okay, and then I'm now going to type here. Let's say combined flashing, comma, clump, comma, gravel. Okay, gravel stop. And adjustable, extended, or extension sleeve. Extension sleeve. So as you can see, we are adding detail now to our drafting view. Okay, and then I'll just click outside. Then what I'm gonna do is I just press escape, and then or I can just select modify to terminate the tool, and then here I'm gonna change the justification to middle, and then I'll adjust this one like that. Okay, and then I will adjust it like this. I think my text is too big. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a new type of text. This one is 2 millimeters Arial. So I select that, edit. Do I have other smaller? Okay, so this is the smallest. So let me just edit type. And then I'll duplicate my text. So let's say I just want 1.5. I know this is out of standard, too small, but this is just an exercise. I'm showing you how to duplicate and create a new text style. So 1.5 Arial, say I want to change the color to red. Okay. And then of course I want to change the text size. Alright, so 1.5 and then okay. There you go. So it's now smaller. So let me adjust again like this. And then I want to add another leader line. I want to point that here too. There you go. Alright. And then you can also use match property. So let's say you also want this text to be like this one. So you can type MA for match type, or you can just simply select that and then change the type here. Okay, but I can type MA. So click and then you paint it here. There you go. All right. Okay, and then what else? So let's add some more details here. So I'm gonna select the text tool. I'll be using 1.5 millimeters Arial. All right, and then again 2 segments, and here. Okay. Okay, so I want to point here, here. So this is my reversible collar jacket. So I can click that and adjust again, and I can add more leader line to the other side, and that's it. Okay, so that's how you add detail using text to your drafting view or to your model. So now the next thing that we will be doing, let's add text and tags to a model view. So let's open up our ground floor. So ground floor. So let me zoom into this part here. So now let's tag our model. Okay, so let's tag. So let's say I want to tag this wall here. Okay, so the tag tool is here since this is a commonly used tools. So I can use tag, I can type TG, shortcut, or you can also find it here on your Annotate tab. You can find their tag by category. So it's the same as this one. Okay, so let me select this one. And then before you pick, so you can specify here if you want to add a leader line. You can specify the leader type and then the length. Okay, so let me just put a tag here. Okay, so just make sure you have a loaded tag in your project. So to check that before you pick, you can go here. Loaded tags and symbols, so you can click that. And then since that's a wall, so let's go to the wall here. So I have a wall there and there's a loaded tag. So in your company, you should have a standard tag family that you can use to load into your project. So once it's loaded like this, it's already loaded. So every time you click a wall, it will show you the tag. So I'm going to click here to place the tag. Okay. So for example, this one, I want to tag that. There you go. Say this one too, click. Alright, so if you don't want to click one by one, okay, you have lots of walls to tags. So what you can do, let's go to modify to cancel it. So go to the Annotate tab and then you can select here tag all. So you see it says tag all not tagged. It adds tags to multiple elements in one step. So let's click this. And then you can see here the tag all not tag dialog box. So what are the elements that you would like to tag in one go? So I want to include the door. Okay, I want to include the windows. Okay, say I'm already enough with the walls. So I want the door and windows. So select that one. And then after that, again, you have an option here if you want to add a leader line. But in this case, I just don't like a leader line for my door and window tag. So this is unchecked. So I'll just select your OK. And there you go. So it's all now tagged. Doors and windows. Okay. Right. So the next thing that I'm going to do next is I'm going to place a room tag. Okay, so I'm going to place a room tag. So to do that, so let's go to the room tag here. So again, we're still on Annotate tab. So there's a room tag there. Okay. So when you click that, it highlights all the rooms that you can tag. So again, I select modify to terminate. So there's a room tag. So you have here room tag. So the shortcut is RT. So I'm going to select this one. So once you do that, it will highlight all the rooms in blue. So I'm going to position my cursor here to place the room tag. So click and there you go. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to select here modify. So now let us add some text. So let's say, so that's how you place your room tag. So I don't need to tag all of these rooms here. So now I'm going to add text. So let's select the text tool. We are adding details. And then I want to add just a one segment. So let's click this one. Okay, and then I want that to be aligned text right. So let's select this. And then I only have one segment, so I want to put a text there. Then click. All right, so I'm going to type here full height double, say masonry wall with complete fire seal. And then just click outside. Okay, again, I can click this one. I can change the type if I want. So let's say 2 millimeters Arial. And then I can also adjust it. So I can drag like that. All right, so let me just make it straight. There you go. All right. Okay, so now if you want to edit the tags, you can select one of the tags. So let's say, for example, the wall tag. Okay, so I can select one of the wall tag, and then you can right click, and then there's a select all instances here. Okay, select all instances. So I just select visible in view. So I select this one. And then you can check here if you have a new type of a wall tag. Okay, so I have two types here. So let's say I want 12 millimeters round. Okay, so round. So I select this one, 12 millimeters, and there you go. So you just change it. So same application if you want to change the styles of your doors and windows. Okay, so that's how you work with text and tags in your model. Okay, pretty simple. So now for the next exercise, so let us add construction details to our detail view. So where's my exercise file? Is it this one? Okay, so this one. So add construction details to a detail view. So this is just call out. So we're going to add details here. Because when you model in Revit, whether it be architecture, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, or structure, you do not model every detail of your model in 3D. Okay? Of your design in 3D. So, good practice, you just create a call out, and then after that, you can add construction details to your call out view or detail view. Just add 2D elements. So that is what we are going to do. Okay? We are going to add 2D elements to our model. Okay? Alright, so what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to open up a section here, wall section at grid 1. Okay, so let me double click that to open. So I'm going to zoom in to this part here. So as you can see, there's not much detail in this view. So let me change this to fine. So that's the only details. Okay, so I'm going to make it coarse again. All right, so I'm going to add more details here. So let me just click first this one, and then I'll adjust the call out boundary. Okay, and then if you go back again to your call out, so let me open this one. So as you can see, it's now adjusted here as well, right? Anyway, so let me go back again to wall section 1. Okay, how about I'll just do it here. So let me double click this. So I just do it here. Okay, so now what I want to do next here for my parapet roof. Okay, so again, this view were generated from this one. Okay, so we created, or in this file, so there's already a created call out that is parapet roof view. Okay, so let me double click that to open up. So we adjusted it. So now let us adjust the extents of this view. Okay, so you can adjust the extents of this view. First, you can go to properties. And then after that, you can see there's extents here. Okay, and then for the far clip settings here, so it says independent. So instead of 8,000, so I'm going to change this far clip offset to just 1,800 so that it will control the view. You see, it's now hide this area here that we don't need. So a while ago, this is 8,000. So look what will happen here. So it's showing elements behind, right? So I don't want my view to be far like that. So I just want this to be 1,800 so that it's hidden. So the far wall is no longer visible in the view. So now the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the roof. Okay. So that's the roof. And then here, so the type is concrete insulated. Okay, so that's the type of this particular roof. Okay, so now we are going to add component details or detail components, repeating details and detail lines. So let's start here. Okay, so detail components can be found here on the annotate and then detail. So there's your detail component. So just click that one. And then from the type properties, I will be selecting here M mortar joint. So let's click this. And then after that, I'm going to, how about I'll just place one here. Click that. All right. And then after that, we're going to array that. So again, this is just 2D elements. Okay, we are adding to our 3D model. Because like what I've said, you do not model all the details in 3D. Okay, so you can add 2D elements to make your file lighter. Okay, so now after we place this detail component, our mortar joint, we're going to use array here. Array. So I'm going to select this. And then there's your array tool. So you can click that. And then I'm going to make sure that this is a linear, group and associate. And then what I want is move to second. And then the total number, including the original mortar joint, I want that to be total 7. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to pick a base point. And then move down my pointer, and then I can type now the distance of each detail component of each mortar. Okay, so I'm going to type the distance, let's say 75 millimeters. Enter. There you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the crop region. So let me just click outside. Okay, and then I can click the boundary and adjust the crop region like that. There you go. Okay, so since they are group and associate our array element, you can click that and then you can actually change the value. Wow, so far. See? You can click that and then you can change the value to 10. So automatically it will be adjusted because it's group and associate. Okay? So when you select your array there, let me select again. So if you select that, so there's an option there, group and associate. All right, so I'll just escape. Okay, so now the next thing that we are going to do after we place just a normal detail component, this time we're going to add repeating detail. Okay, so again, from the annotate, click the drop down. You can see here repeating detail component. So a repeating detail places a detail component in a linear pattern that you define. Okay, so I'm going to select repeating detail component. So I select that one. And then after that, here, we will be using a mortar joint. Okay, so if you don't have that mortar joint or elements, so you can always go to your edit type. And then you can duplicate. Okay. So once you go to your edit type, you can see that my mortar joint is already created. And then the detail component that we will be using is the mortar joint family, the one that we use for this one. So that's the family that we are going to use. And then for the layout, we will be using a fixed distance. And then inside is check. And then I also want to have a spacing of 75 millimeters. So that's the setting of my repeating detail component for mortar joint. So I'm going to select OK. All right. And then after that, I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to pick here. So pick. And then as you can see, you are able to create your detail component. So I'm going to pick here. There you go. And then select here, modify. As you can see, we are now adding 2D elements to our view to add more detail. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'll go to this part of the roof. So again, I'll go to component. This time, a detail component. So I'll be adding there a cant strip. Where is that? So I can type here strip. There you go. So there's my strip. So I'm gonna use here 75 millimeters by 75 millimeters. So I select that one, and then I want to add detail that to here. There you go. All right, and then after that, I select here modify. Okay. So now I'm going to add more details here. So I'm going to add line here. Okay. So by the way, as you can see, the lines here is too thick. Okay. So it's really thick. So I'm just going to turn off that by turning on the thin lines. So I don't want to see yet the details of my drawing because it's really thick. So I'm going to turn on thin lines. There you go. So it's more finer. So it's just a single line. Now this time I'm going to select detail lines. So we are still on annotate. Just remember all of the elements here are 2D elements on your annotate. Okay. So I'm going to select detail line. And then after that, so I'll be selecting the medium line line style. And I want to add an offset here. So the offset is, let's say, 6 millimeters. And then I'm going to pick here. And then I'm going to pick to this point here. Okay. And then maybe I'm going to add another line somewhere here. There you go. And then select here, modify. Okay, there you go. So that's another detail. So maybe for this one, I'll just drag that and then put it here. Okay, just drag, extend it. Okay, so if I turn off the thin lines, so it's gonna be look like this. Okay. All right, and then after that, let us add some more. Let's say, for example, you don't want to show this part here for the detailing, for the detail view. So I'm going to select again my detail component, and then from the properties, there's a break line here. So I can use a break line. So I can click this. So this is a family that consists of standard symbol and mask region family. So I'm going to pick there. All right. And then I select modify. So I can click this, and then I can press space bar to flip. See? Whenever you press the space bar, it will flip, and then I'll just click outside. There you go. So there's my break line. So I can select that, and I can also click that icon there if you want to flip, right? Or just space bar. So you can select your break line, and then you can use the arrow on your keyboard if you want to move it up and down, left and right. Okay? Right. So I also want to add a break line here, somewhere here. Okay, to finalize my simple detailing. So component, break line. So I'm going to press space bar to rotate, and then I just want to put one here. There you go. And then select modify. So I select the break line, I press space bar, okay? And then I can use up and down, left and right arrow on my keyboard to place my break line. All right, so that's it. Okay, very simple. So this view is now ready for text notes and other annotations. Okay, so we just added some 2D elements to our call out view. So again, in Revit, you don't need to model too much detail of your 3D. So good practice, you can add 2D elements to it. Okay, so that's it for add construction details to a detail view. So now I'm going to show you how to create a drafting view. So where's my drafting view exercise? So there's my drafting view. Okay. So drafting view. So this drafting view can be found here on our view tab since it says view, right? So anything that has something to do with view, like plan view, ceiling view, duplicate view. So it's here on our view tab. So 3D view, and there's your drafting view. So what is drafting view? So let's read this one. So it creates a view showing details that are not directly associated with the building model. Okay, so basically any changes that you made on the 3D view, it will not affect your drafting view, and vice versa. If you change your drafting view, it will not affect your BIM model, your 3D model. Okay, so you use this tool to create unassociated view-specific details at differing view scales, coarse, medium, or fine, using 2D detailing tools like detail lines, detail regions, detail components, just like what we have used from our previous exercise. So basically, drafting view, it's just a 2D view. Okay, so it's just a 2D view. Right, so let's create a drafting view. So let's go to the view tab, drafting view, and then let's name it. So once we select here OK, there's a drafting view that will be added here on your project browser. So let's name it roof and overflow drain. Then I'll just use the default scale 1:10. So okay, there you go. So where's my drafting view? There's my drafting view. Okay, there you go. Drafting view, roof and overflow drain. So this is just a 2D elements. Okay, so we are going to add detail component since it's just a 2D element. So detail component. Okay, so it's now loaded in this exercise. So I'll be using the roof drain. Okay, and then I'm going to pick here. There you go, and then modify. If you want to load 2D elements or detail component to your project, you can go to the insert and then you can use the default Autodesk family. So just select load Autodesk family and just look for detail items. So click the detail items there, and then these are the 2D elements that you can use and load up into your project. Okay, so you can just explore this, and then you can use this to create your drafting view. Okay, so it's all here. All right. Okay, so there's a lot. You see there's my roof drain as well. Okay, so it's all here. So you just need to explore your detail items. And if you go to the detail items here, as you can see, it's properly categorized by concrete, earthwork, electrical, finishes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's just here on the load Autodesk family. So going back, so after we insert our roof drain, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a reference plane. So let's go to architecture. I'll create a reference plane. So I click this, and then I'll just pick one point here and then second point here, just a vertical reference plane. And then let's put a distance here. So I'm going to select my roof drain. So there's a distance, temporary dimension. So let's click that. So let's say I want 400 or 400 millimeters, enter. There you go. And then let us add 2D elements. Okay. So let's go to annotate. This time, let's use region, field region. So you have two types of region, filled region and mask. So we're not going to mask anything, but we're going to add a filled region. Filled region, it's like a hatch in AutoCAD. If you're familiar with AutoCAD, so you will be using hatch. So filled region is just like that. So it should be a closed boundary when you sketch your filled region boundary. So we're going to add filled regions and detail lines to represent the roof construction. So let's select your filled region. Okay, and then after that, we will be using, let's use line tool here. So let's use line tool. Let's click that. And then let me just zoom in here. So I'm going to snap here, click. So this will gonna be the boundary of my filled region. So we are using the line tool. Make sure chain here is checked so that we can continuously create our line. And then maybe 50. There you go. And then let's align there and then close. That's it. And then select modify. Okay. So now for this line here, so let me just click this. I want to change that line style. So instead of thin lines, I'm going to select here, let's say invisible lines. So let's select invisible lines, click that, and then just click outside. So as you can, that's the representation of that line is invisible. Now for the properties, let me change this to ortho cross hatch small. So let me click that. So that will gonna be the hatch type. Okay. And then after that, just select here finish. That's it. There you go. And then just select here modify. So as you can see, the line here at the top, it's invisible, right? So if you want to edit your filled region, just click again and then edit the boundary. If you want to edit the boundary, okay, if you want to reshape your boundary, but I'll just cancel that one. I don't want to change it. So now the next thing that we will be doing is the representation of the roof membrane layer. Okay, so again, let's use filled region. So let's click that one. And after that, so let's create a rectangle. So rectangle, let's click rectangle, and then let's create our rectangle here. And let's say for the thickness, 7. Oops. Okay. So let's change that to 7 millimeters. Modify. So I'm going to select this. I want to move that. I want to move it here. There you go. So 7 millimeters thickness. And then for the filled region type, I'll be using sand very dense. So I click that. Oh, yeah. And then just check to finish. Okay, so we are adding more details. What? Oh, so that's the representation. So maybe I turn on the thin lines. There you go. That's my sand. Okay, so now let us add some detail lines. Okay, so let us add some detail lines. So let's go to detail line here. And then let's use the line tool. This time I'm gonna use thin lines. Click thin lines, and then I'm going to pick here. Gonna pick another point. Okay, and then let me just move it up until here. There you go, and then modify. Okay, right. So that's our line. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is, by the way, if you want to have an exact distance of this line from here, so what you can do is, let me delete this one. So select, delete. So detail line, you can use this one, pick lines, and then just specify an offset distance here. So like for example, 3 millimeters. So just type 3, and then you can do like that, see? Okay. And then you can use the line tool. So I'm just gonna make the offset 0. Or maybe I'll just use the peak lines again. So peak lines, 3 millimeters, and then, oh, I can't pick this one for some reason. So I'll just use the line tool, offset 0, and then I'll just pick that just like that, okay? And then modify. So that's it. Okay, so let's say, for example, we are now done adding details. So I'm going to mirror this side to this side here. So I'm going to use window selection, just making sure that all the elements that we added is selected. So I'm going to use mirror pick axis, and then I'm going to pick this vertical line, and it's now mirrored. So now I want to add a break line here. So let's go to the annotate detail component. Let's look for a break line. Press space bar and then pick. There you go. And then I want to select all of these elements and then mirror that to the other side. Click that and then mirror to the other side. There you go. And then select modify. Okay. So you can also select one of the drain, like for example this one, and then you can still modify, like for example the ring height here. So there's a parameter ring height, so I changed this to 50. There you go. So you see it's now changed. So this one is 50, the other one is what, 25.4. Okay, so you can still modify your family. And then you can also add dimension. So like if you want to measure this, so just add a dimension. So you can click this. So I click that one, and maybe this one. There you go. All right. So you can click that dimension, and then if you can also click this blue dot to drag that if you want. There you go. So that's 50. And then you can also add, what else? A center line symbol. So I'm going to select this dimension. So I'm going to pick this 1, 2, and then I place it here. And then just select modify, right? So I can select that. And then maybe I'm going to edit the type. And then I can change that tick mark. Let's see the tick mark here. So you can change that to arrow 30 degree. Okay. Right. And then what else? So basically these are the tools that you can use to modify your dimension. Okay. Dimension string type, so that's continuous. Leader type, arc. Okay, and then what else? Witness line tick mark, so you can click the drop down. Let's see. So there are still other. These are still the type of the tick mark that you can use. Center line pattern, center line symbol. So we can add a center line symbol. So if we want to make it a center line symbol, so what happens is if I select here OK, so it will show there a center line symbol there. Okay, center to center. Okay. There you go. So there's now your drafting view. Okay. So now, aside from doing your drafting view manually here in Revit, so if you already have some detailing or drafting view from AutoCAD, you can actually use that to import here in Revit. Okay. So instead of doing it like this, manually, but if you already have detailing or detailed views in AutoCAD and then you want that to reuse in Revit. So you can do that one. So that's our next and final exercise, which is importing a view and a CAD file. Okay? So let us insert a drafting view or a view. So let's insert a view here. So if you want to reuse drafting view from other files, so let's say for example, this detail for this project will gonna be the same detail from my next project. Okay, like for example, this is my project B, and it so happened that we have the same roof and overflow drain detail. And I remember that I already created that drafting view. So instead of redoing it again in this project, I can just reuse that. Okay, so to do that, just go to the Insert tab, and then there's a load from library here. So there's a load from file. Okay, and then after that, you can select Insert Views from File. So you can click that. And then let's see if I have an exercise file for that one. Okay, view import. Okay, so let me use this one. No, view to import. Okay, this one. So view to import. So I select open here. So that's a drafting view. So that was long time ago, created in 2012. So now 14 years later, so I'm still using this file for this video. Okay, so basically what's happening is we are reusing a drafting view that was created from another project. That's why it's always good to have these project standards like detail views, drafting views, so that you can reuse that just in case you have the same details on your next project. Okay, so let us just wait. All right, so it's now finished. Just close this one. All right, so this is what happens if you import or insert a drafting view from another project. So you see, you just need to select the drafting view that you want. And then after that, just select OK. And just select OK. And there you go. So it's now here. So you don't need to recreate again your drafting view because you already have that detail created as a standard of your company. Okay? So this is our drafting view. Now, if you have a CAD file, you can also do that. Okay? You can add a CAD file. So let's say, let's create a new drafting view. So let's go to the View tab. Let's create a drafting view. CAD. Okay, drafting view. Oh, sorry. Or let's say roof drain details from CAD. Select OK. And then just go to Insert. And then import a CAD file. Let's see if I have an exercise file for that, which is I have. This is my CAD. So I just want to make that black and white. And then open. There you go. Okay. So that's now my drafting view from CAD drawing. So if you have already the standard from your CAD file, so you can just import it. But my advice to you, instead of using AutoCAD drawings imported in Revit, so I think it would be better to, let's say for example, you're the BIM manager. So you just create all the drafting views, all the detailed views in Revit. Okay, so instead of using CAD files. So it would be good, especially for the performance of your model of your project. So I would suggest you create all your drafting views, your detailing standards in Revit. Okay, so that's it for this exercise about detailing and drafting. So in this video, we have learned how to add construction details to a detail view, creating a call-out view, working with text and tags, creating a drafting view, and importing a view and a CAD file. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.